Hello and welcome to another episode of Space Engineers. And we have basically got this initial asteroid base set up. We have our hangar bay all nicely fixed out here. It's all built. The projection is done except for a few spots. If I pop into my spectator cam, I can show you what I mean. It is trying to build... where am I? Ah, yes. It's trying to build a connector here, but obviously I put a conveyor there because I wanted to connect this system. It's trying to build armor here, but that's where I have my temporary battery. And it's trying to build armor here, but that's where I have a tube so that I can connect up this thing. So it's trying to build things in places, but other than that, everything on this base has been completed. Now, a troublesome thing is that I am having issues with my power because I haven't been trying to do it entirely on hydrogen. So the hydrogen engine's running, it's making power for the base, but then I just have to continue consuming ice. So I'd like to get some more green energy, and we can't do wind up here because obviously we're in space, so there's no wind here, but there is solar. So we should set up a solar tower for this base. Why do you have no hydrogen? Why are you not running? Do I need to turn that on and turn off my engine? Oh, that's why. I left the hydrogen engine running and I ran out of hydrogen. Oh, well, there you go. Let me just take you up to the roof here to park you out of the way a little bit. There. You stay there. Stay. Good ship. Alright. So, the idea being that I think I am going to go... Ooh, what would be the best way to go with this? Because we want to think about where the sun is in this world and how the sun is moving through it. This will be a temporary tower where I will eventually build a much cooler tower that retracts into the asteroid when needed. But if I cheat a little here to show this off, just so I can show this, if we take a look at where the sun is and where our orientation of our base is, I'll just be inside the rock here, and I move the sun, we can see that the sun is rotating on this plane. It is about even with our base. So if I put the tower here, I would only get power. Well, I get power when the sun came around to there until it came around to, say, there. So I get power for majority of the day. But I want power all the time. So if I go from the base here, I could either go straight down, which might be more useful. And once I'm here, then I can see that there is light all the way around, especially if I push the tower down a little bit, all the way around the time here. I can have power all the time. So think that is the process here. So we have our various ships and stuff there. What we need to do is run a single line of blocks out and reach out of the bottom here and then build a rotating tower on that. And I wanted to, normally what I would do is I'd say, and I've prepared a blueprint for this, but I wanted to show you how I do this and how I sort of did this as well. So we're going to be popping back and forth between my actual save for the season and a testing world where I'm designing and building my base and preparing my blueprints to use in this season. So, I think we need to do is figure out which is closer, going out the top or going out the bottom. And we should do that by setting a waypoint. We should probably turn off all these antennas because they're getting annoying. Antenna off. There we go. Clean up all these antennas. Alternatively, you could just use the cargo shuttle antenna. Small grid. Why are you just small grid that? I thought you were Why are you that? I thought you wanted to be the jump jack. Why are you not the jump jack? There we go. So we could even just use the jump jack. So the idea being is that I will go, let's go fly outside. And let's see up on the roof of the place if I use the spectator camera to align myself and then back out. Or do I pop out? I pop out here on that ridge line there. So now I need to find that ridge line, which is that ridge line there. So that's 200 meters-ish. Alright, so now for the bottom. We'll fly around. We'll see how far we are to get out the bottom of the place. And do the same thing. We'll go into the spectator camera. We'll find the base. We'll fly through it. We'll align ourselves with the bottom. And then push out. And we can even just do this with the spectator cam. We can see how far it is away there. It's maybe 180, 200-ish as well. So realistically, it's not going to matter which direction we do it in. We need to push about 90 blocks in each direction in order to get out. And then it'll be either on top or bottom, and they should, if I... bottom might be a bit better. It depends. Let me look this way here and flip that. Both would work. And I'd be able to get light 24 hours a day from those positions. So, let's go do that. So we're going to save out of here. And we'll head back to the main menu. And we are going to load into my testing world here, where I test various ships that I've seen. Want to make sure, I maybe want to change around some stuff and play with some stuff. Or I have my several versions of the base that I'm currently living in, and they are all set up so that I can modify them as I need. So hopefully it shouldn't take us too long to load in, as it is just an empty world. Alright. This is a utility ship that has sort of different parts that you can attach to it that I will most likely be building at some point. But for now, that could be there. Alright, so where is my current one? Here it is. So this is the last one I built. And you can see I, in the blueprint, just had this great big long beam of conveyors so that I could build the dock for the prospector. But I think we'll go down with this. We're going to go from this block here, and then we'll just stretch out 100 or so blocks, because it doesn't matter if we make this a little bit too long. We can always just not build that portion of the blueprint. Alright. And now that we have that nice stretch down in order to get to the outside of the asteroid, what I can do is I can make a new version of my base. So for my base here, we are currently on version 4. I will rename that, copy it so I can get that in. And then I'm always, whenever I'm making the thing, this is how you can replace blueprints existing in your world and have them already be aligned. The block that you look at is important, because that's where sort of the origin of the blueprint is going to be. So if you blueprint stuff from different blocks every time, you have to realign your blueprints, and it gets annoying. Here, I am always using this particular blueprint block. So I'm aiming at that, pressing B, Control B, making the new thing, and then I'm renaming that with version 5. Alright, so now version 5 is made. It gets me that line of blocks that I can use. We'll hop out of there, we'll head back into the actual world. And unfortunately, this might take a moment to load. But then we can take that new design, put it directly into my existing projector. I don't need to change any settings. All of a sudden, those new blocks will show up exactly where I want them to be. And that is so useful when you're doing a base like this. So we'll fly back into our base here, as we are currently floating out in the middle of nowhere. Alright, past our prospector, and oh, there's my entrance. There's main entrance. In we go. Into the seat, projector, and we can blueprint. All the settings should be the same. I'll find the most recent version of the base, which I just made, version 5. You can see it's an extra 100 blocks. And we'll plop it over. And what do you know? There is the beam shooting downwards from the base. And Build and Repair is already on the hard work of setting that up and getting it going. Excellent. And we'll see here that it does pop out of the base. And we don't need to build the entire thing. When we get down to here, we can replace this with solar bits. Or alternatively, it might actually be useful to build it this long, because then we can build a fairly large solar array here and not worry about it hitting the sides of the asteroid. Awesome. The other thing we need to do is just build and repair, so we can build more of that stuff. And I'm going to name this build and repair base. We need to show its area and see how far that gets it down here. It only gets these blocks. So, I'll remind myself of what's on this bar here. Area offset, right, left, right, increase, decrease, up, increase, decrease, front, back, increase, decrease. Okay, that's not the way we want. This is the way we want. So we can push this downwards as much as we can. Although pressing that button a whole bunch of times won't work, or at least it will, but it'll be slow. So let's just go to it and scroll on down to these offsets, and we can see we want the vertical offset, and we're going to drop this down to there. Looks about right. Looks like it's sort of the bottom of the base. We'll go minus 90 meters, and it'll continue to build out all of this stuff as fast as it can, eating up my precious iron, yes, but this is into the this is going to be getting us infinite power, which is always a wonderful thing. So there are steel plates, and this should probably be in production of steel plates. And I do have a fair amount of iron, correct? I have 175,000. 12,000 there, 89,000 there. I am doing just fine for iron. So that should be able to build out quite nicely and quite quickly. In the meantime, I can do something magical here, where you guys have to wait through all sorts of things. However, as I have the magical powers of editing, we can just do a pan, and now you see that the entire thing has been built. And isn't the magic of editing just wonderful? But yes, we have built this out as far as it can go. For you guys, that was probably instantaneous. For me, it was about 10 minutes of waiting. But unfortunately, the build and repair just simply can't reach out far enough. So we've got the prospector down here, and it's loaded with materials, and it has its own build and repair, which we'll be working on very shortly here. So I'm just going to go to the base one, and I'm going to reset it here. I'm going to turn this back to 0 to pull it back inside, and turn off show area. Very good. And then I'm going to pop out and fly on down to the prospector, which should be straight down. Hey, where are you? My wonderful ship. There you are. You get a little disoriented sometimes with this asteroid, but here we go. So now, you gotta build this thing up. And I think that's a fairly decent height for what will be a giant solar array. If we build all the way up to there, and then we put a rotor on top of that, and then put the solar array on top of that, it means we can go down quite far, and we can build a very large one in order to power our base up. Alternatively, we could always just turn that projector off and not do it. But we'll build it all the way out. In the future, we'll cut it off and we'll replace it with something else, but that'll be the future. So, what we should be able to do is this prospector should have everything we need in order to get this going. And it has already started to build up there. So, build and repair from the prospector. I'm going to turn on its show area so that I can get an idea of how we're doing here. Okay, good. We have more than enough space. So we'll let that do its thing. I'm going to turn off the show area again. And personally, I'm going to go grab some of these steel plates because I want to lay some things out. And I can't do it from the cockpit. I need to go from here. Steel, give me those plates, please. Thank you. Alright. So let's lay these things out. I don't need to have them built up. We'll leave the, I need steel plate. What? Oh, I deposited way more than I expected. Damn it. I didn't mean to deposit 13 there. I don't need this thing to, lay out every single one of them. Come on, build more steel plates, thank you. There. Allow me to start these things. Thank you. I just need you solid enough for me to work with. I don't need you to be perfect yet. Build and repair will build all that stuff up. Alright. So rotor 1. That thing. Then rotor 2. And rotor 3. And then from there, we've got the arms out. So 2 per solar panel. So we'll get this done with just, say, 4 panels to start with. And, oh my god. One thing I wish Keen would put in is centered solar panels. Like, please, can I have centered solar panels? I hate when they just are off to one side. It makes me all sorts of sad. Especially because at some point these arms are going to end up being, like, off from each other. And it's going to look bad. And I'm going to be very sad then. Like, unbelievably very sad. I need steel plates. I need more plates. Steel, give me those. Thank you. It's already started to make the large steel tubes. Excellent. Alright, so that is the idea. And having this high enough up means that we should have power all the time. And that we can go from this and we can make these multiple things taller. Like, there was the solar panels I had on the moon base that were like 3 or 4, what are they, 5 long? I can't remember. We can add the nice big solar array to this. Starting off with these. Which, nice 3 tall panels. Excellent, I like that. And then as we get more resources and want to expand this out, we can simply just expand it out as needed. More steel plates. Never enough steel. Are you not building any? Come on, build me steel plates. I need just a few for myself, please. Yeah, 20 steel plates. Oh, the joyousness of build and repair. Oh, it's so easy to do. No, not out in the middle of space. Yeah. And then just a couple more up here, and that will be good for now. The other thing to do... Silly misplace. The other thing to do would be to get the programmable block going so that this thing is going to be turning when it comes down to it. As we need it to rotate into the sun, otherwise it's not going to be any use to me. We'll move our little ship here up such that we are relatively centered to where the tower is so that it can access it all and build it all. Wonderful. Build. So, programmable block, I don't think I actually need to put this inside because, I mean, it's just this tower, and eventually I'll cut this off and I could even, like, if I wanted to take this tower somewhere else eventually, I could detach it like here by cutting out one of those and then just drag the tower to another planet and plunk it down. Because I'm eventually going to rebuild this into more of like a cool sort of folding out tower. But I just need this temporary power right now. So I think for now we're just going to stick the programmable block like right on it. And then that should function. Because, yeah, that should be all we need. So that is going to take a few minutes to set up, unfortunately. However, what I can do is, let's see how this thing is doing. In the meantime, alright, I have a little bit of steel plate scrap, which I should deposit. We got our build and repair, who's going crazy, building up the solar panels and all that kind of stuff. Our production has plenty in there to work on, but I think it needs the stuff for a programmable block. Can you make this? Yes, you can. Wonderful. And I want you to focus on that. And I wonder if it'll make the programmable block first, or if it will continue to build up the solar panels. Well, it doesn't really matter yet. But that is the idea. We can do another instantaneous time lapse as I have the power through editing. And we will go from it being semi-complete to it being complete here in just a moment. And that's relatively close enough. I mean, if we take a look here, the rotors and the panels and everything else is done, so we have more than enough than we need to get this to work. It's just armor blocks, and that'll finish in a moment. So what we need to do is we need to find these rotors and put these into a nice group. I'm also just going to label these for my own knowledge for later and call them solar rotors. And that's all you really need to do. Beyond, go to the programmable block, edit, browse scripts, ISI solar alignment, doop, and okay. And we might need to move the ship out of the way because they might have to start rotating here soon. Are you going to rotate? As far as I remember, you don't need to name them elevation, azimuth, and stuff like that. Or do you? Oh, I think that's only with the turrets and stuff. I believe with the solar rotors. Yeah, they're starting to rotate. They've just about got it. And it's just that last block. And the build and repair should be done. Yep. So we can back off. Give it a little bit of space to work. And now, this bad boy is going to rotate to the sun. and continue to rotate to the sun at all times. So as that goes around and around our asteroid, we are going to have infinite power. And we can check that right here. Terminal. Go to our battery. And we are recharging. We'll make sure that our, not a reactor, our engines are turned off. And then let's see what kind of stuff we're getting out of our battery here. So, fully depleted in 4 hours. We got 100% on our base battery, which is fine. But this is not bad. I mean, if we take a look at this thing here for our solar alignment. How we doing for power generation? It is not saying how many. Main grid asteroid base. Yeah. Oh, we looking good. And it is aligning to the sun. So now all they really need to do is just expand this. Which actually is going to be very, very easy. We just put on 1,000 steel plates. And I can just yoink some of those out of there in a moment here. I don't know. 50 would probably be more than enough to do this. And then I can just start placing all sorts of solar panels on this thing. So every 2 that goes out is another thing. So let's make these nice squares. So let's go 6 out. And that'll make me get a nice 3x3 for my panels on each side. But yeah, fairly easy setup, as I've done this before. And we have a new solar system set up for our base, such that we can make awesome quantities of electricity and not have to completely rely on hydrogen. Or at least if we do, we are relying on it for fuel for our ship's movement rather than for our base electricity, which will mean that our current fuel is going to last even longer, which is a good thing. But yeah, I'll get this built out here. I'll leave the prospector in position to finish it off. But that is more than likely going to be this episode. Just getting a little bit of something built. Next episode, I'd like to do some combat. I do have my little ship. I've been calling it the Badger as its working name, but I wonder if that is the best name for it. I'll move in a little bit closer here so that I can get this thing all built up. I wonder if it's the best name. Probably is decent. And so, if you have any better names, you can let me know in the comments. But I want to go and see how it will perform during an escort mission. Oh, that is a beautiful solar array. And I think that this would make a absolutely wonderful... let me flip over, because realistically, my base is on the bottom side of this. Where is the camera? Where am I positioning it? I'm positioning it here. If I position that there... oh yeah, that would be good. And then I could take this and fly around the right side of it, and we can get the absolute best thumbnail ever. Because I'm thinking of trying out an escort, but I'm not sure how well that little fighter ship I have is going to do in escort, because I don't think it has the durability for it. At least, it's got some issues with how it is set up, with certain things like the hydrogen tank exposed and such. But we'll give it a try. We'll try to fight off some pirates and see if we can get an escort done in the next episode. But for now, I'm going to leave the prospector here to finish off building, and that is done. definitely thumbnail material right there. For now, thanks for watching, and good hunting out there, space engineers.